Hey folks, I'm Ian Baker, and today I'm going to go over some best practices for loading up your toy hauler with toys along with other flammables. First off, something you should always check in every RV before you start your trip is your fire extinguisher. Obviously, this is that much more important when you're hauling around flammables like gasoline and oil. So what you'll want to do, there's a couple different types. One of them will be just like this, where you have a gauge. You just want to make sure that it is in the green. You also may have a test button. You can push that test button to see if it pops back up to make sure that it is charged where it needs to be. A lot of people don't know this, but a disposable fire extinguisher like this, you should replace every 10 years. Another quick safety check to go along with the fire extinguisher is checking your smoke detector as well as your carbon monoxide and propane detector to ensure they're working before your trip. The next safety tip in your toy hauler will be keep your vents open. Folks, it doesn't matter if you are traveling down the road or if you are at the campsite. If your ramp door is shut, you want to make sure your vents are open so that any gas, especially flammable gas like from gasoline, will vent out. Your toy hauler should have at least two of these. You'll find one will be up high on one wall, the other one will be a little bit lower on the opposite wall, and again, you can leave both of those open while traveling down the road. When loading your toy hauler, it's important to distribute the weight evenly. That will be from front to back as well as side to side. You also want to make sure that any parking brakes that are on those toys are set before you take off. Next up, you'll want to safeguard your gas-powered toys. Ideally, especially if you're traveling long distances, it's best to drain the fuel tank. However, I know that that's not always possible, so you can travel with fuel in the tank, but you have to understand that does come along with some additional possible risks. Make sure to consult the owner's manual for proper procedures on disconnecting fuel valves and vent caps for your specific toys before transporting them with fuel in the tanks. Next up are the fuel containers. You want to make sure that these are secured very well. We definitely don't want these tipping over and spilling. So in order to do that, you want to make sure you have two tie-down points, whether that's in the back of a UTV or a milk crate that is secured to the floor, or just between two D-rings. It's also not a bad idea to add a shelf liner or floor covering to cushion the tanks from bouncing or rubbing on the laminate while traveling down the road. When tying down fuel containers, you will again want to make sure you have 2 points of connection, and then you will simply go underneath the handle. Once you have it tightened up, give it a good shake, make sure it's not going anywhere. With the gas canisters, you don't necessarily need ratchet straps, especially if you have a plastic container. A cam lock will do just fine. Another good safety tip is to have a bin for soiled items. Unfortunately, gas and oil spills do happen. So any rags you use to clean up that spill, you want to put in a covered metal bin until you get to a place where you can perform a deep clean. When it comes to tying down your motorized toys, it is important that you use ratchet straps for a couple different reasons. Obviously, bungees just aren't going to work. Rope can stretch, and it's going to rely on your knot tying skills. And your cam buckles won't necessarily hold your heavier vehicle, so I highly recommend using ratchet straps. And you want to use at least 3 tie-down points. If you are using 3, it's generally when you have it centered in the toy hauler, and you're going to connect those 3 in a triangular fashion. If you have a larger vehicle, a big ATV or UTV, it is then recommended to do 4 tie-down points, which obviously will be 2 in the front and 2 in the rear. You want to make sure you snug up your ratchet straps nice and tight. The wheels on your motorized ATV or motorcycle, whatever you may have tied down, should look like they are carrying some weight. Now, when you do tighten it, chances are you'll have quite a bit of excess, and so you want to tie that somewhere, whether it's to this strap or somewhere else to the vehicle. That'll help keep your straps off the ground, which not only keep them cleaner, but will also help prevent any trip hazards as you continue to load up your toy hauler. The last little tidbit is just to give everything a shake test. You want to shake it nice and vigorously, again, to ensure that nothing is going to move. After that, you should be good to go. I recommend after about a half hour or hour or so going down the road, you pull over, come to the back, and double check your work. If you have anything that's loose, you want to retighten that, or if necessary, reposition your straps to make sure that everything is tied down appropriately. And then if you're going on long trips, probably every 2 or 3 hours, maybe if you have to stop for a snack or to use the bathroom, it's probably a good time just to come on back and double and triple check. And folks, that's really all there is to it to make sure that you are being safe while traveling with flammables or toys in your toy hauler. If you appreciate these tips, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel so you can see more how-to and troubleshooting tips. Thanks again for joining me, folks. My name is Ian Baker, and until next time, we'll see you.